Hello, I'm here with Sean, and I want you to introduce your team today and who we're out here for.
All right, well, this is our team, For Goodness Shake, and we are out here walking for my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother.
Okay. Now, that's a lot of generations there.
Yeah, there's 3 different generations.
Had Parkinson's.
Had Parkinson's.
Do you know if there was a gene or probably,
we know,
huh?
Probably, yes. It was my mother and her mother, so.
That's pretty rare. You know that, right?
Yes.
And what is your name?
Betty.
Betty. When were you diagnosed, Betty?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes.
Did you have symptoms before the diagnosis?
Yeah, I started with a tremor.
Okay.
And
how many years before diagnosis?
Well, no, just a couple months before I let it go.
Very good.
Yeah, we lived with Parkinson's for many years.
Exactly. So you had
knew the symptoms.
A little step ahead. Tell us about your journey. What's been helpful for you in managing your day-to-day life with Parkinson's?
Exercise is the best.
Okay.
Yeah, it keeps you going.
And you say you lived with it for generations, so what did you learn from your past generations, your relatives who had it before? What did you do different?
I try to do mostly the same. Exercise, eating better, just being up on it, a lot of sleep.
Okay.
Rest.
So it's amazing. That's things all of us should do, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, right? The Unity Walk, how long have you been coming here to the Unity Walk?
This is our 2nd year.
Okay. So what's been helpful about the Unity Walk? What have you learned here that's helped the whole process?
Well, going down with the tents and the different organizations, we learn different things through each people, and then each year, like from last year, we grew a lot bigger than last year. We raised a lot more money. Okay. So just coming here and just spreading awareness. What are some of your fundraising ideas that you guys had? I've heard a lot of creative ideas all day. Yeah, so I think a lot of us, we use Facebook a lot to promote it, or just to say that if you would like to donate through Facebook or other social media. But we also just had a really big barbecue, and everyone kind of brought food and drinks and stuff, and we raised $700 just at the barbecue. Okay. And then total we raised $4,035 today. So. Wonderful. So. It was nice meeting you guys. Yeah, so you're part of a great group, you're a team, you're here together, you're working together, you have a great support. What would you say have you learned from this type of unity that you guys have, and raising money for PD and helping your relatives? What have you learned from that?
That our family's like no other, that we have so much support. That's excellent. We're all there for each other. And it's nice coming here because you just see that we're not the only ones going through this. There's so much more. Right. So.
And I want to ask you another question about Parkinson's, because you look like you have a very good attitude. Was there any, like Oprah says, aha moments where you maybe were doing one thing and you figured something out that helped you a lot and said, wow, this is great? And whether it's a medication, whether it's something you're doing daily, is there something that really propelled you forward and saying, wow, this is a good idea to do this?
I waited a while to get on medication. I waited until I really needed it. But once I was on it, I could see a big difference. Okay. Yeah.
Were you afraid of like side effects or?
Well, my doctor recommended that you didn't start too early. Okay. If you didn't need it. So I put it off as long as I could. I exercised and did stuff to help it until I really needed it.
Good tip. Good tip. Well, thank you everyone for being here. We wouldn't have a 180 Walk without you. If someone says something about, you say we're the greatest, right? We're the greatest. So say 1, 2, 3. We're the greatest. Woo! Yes, you are. And you did something else. You did something. Is that like a family cheer? Or oh, you seem like the ringleader in that. Thank you guys. You guys have been great. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful, wonderful interview. Hi, I'm here with the team Pops Kids. And who are we out here for? Who is this team made up for?
For my husband.
And what was his name?
Irving.
Irving. Yes. When was he diagnosed with Parkinson's?
He never really was.
Really?
It took a few years before we realized it was Parkinson's.
That's very common.
There is no medicine. There's no
test. There's no test. Yeah.
To say, well, okay, you have Parkinson's.
Yeah, you gotta have to look at the history and the symptoms.
With time, symptoms began to show. And,
right.
You know, his coworkers used to say to him, "Irving, you're not walking right."
Okay.
And he says, "What are you talking about? This is how I walk."
Right.
But it wasn't. It was the beginning. And
Isn't that something?
And it took time for it to raise its head.
Okay. How old was he then? When he first started?
In the middle 60s.
Middle 60s?
Yeah, about 65, 66. Something.
Once you found out what it was, what was most helpful for you in this journey and in trying to manage the symptoms? Is there something that stands out for you that helped you the most?
To find a doctor that would work with me.
Right. Isn't that something? Find a doctor, because you've had past experiences where you just didn't have good communication.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, you want to get a movement disorder specialist, not just a regular neurologist or regular doctor. No, Did you ever get to that point where you got the right doctor?
I started instantly.
Yes, very good. So when did you guys, so you guys have raised money, of course, that's why you're here. And you guys have any fundraising strategies that are pretty cool you can share with us?
So my brother was a wheeler and dealer.
Wheeler and dealer.
That's the wheeler and dealer.
Wheeler and dealer.
With
the brains.
And we did a fundraising event at the Hudson Hotel.
Okay.
In partnering with March Madness.
All right.
And they gave us a certain percentage of everything that was made that evening.
Awesome.
That went towards Pop's Kids and Parkinson's research.
All right, wheeler and dealer brother. Cool. Well, that's great. That's great. So you guys been having fundraising money? Yeah. What have you learned from being a unit in a team? Is there anything anybody want to say anything about what has it taught you? What have you learned or through your experience?
It's powerful. It's
Powerful.
very, very powerful.
Yes.
It's a good feeling, to be honest. I really wasn't happy about coming today. I did it to support my mom and my niece and nephew.
Okay.
It's still really hard for me.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to come, but you know what? I'm walking away with a whole different feeling.
Oh, wonderful.
The power of all the people and of all the energy.
Yes.
That's the best gift that the walk can give.
Yes.
Aside from the dollars that are raised, it makes you feel powerful.
Yeah, because the depression and the sadness comes from feeling alone.
Yeah.
And like, wow, this experience is not
people
fun all
walked
the
over
time.
to us and we walked over to other people, and it was heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's togetherness.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
And thanks for all your hard work. We wouldn't have a walk without you.
Keep trying.
Keep trying.
Keep fighting.
All right. All right, Pop's Kids.
Hey! Carol Walton, CEO of the Parkinson Alliance, and I am back again to talk about team interviews and everyone's journey. And I got to thinking, I am very fortunate to be able to do a lot of radio and TV interviews with Maymay Ali when she comes into town to talk about her father and their journey. So I thought maybe we would switch the tables and I would ask her to tell us more about her journey with her father and Parkinson's disease. So Maymay, why don't you start out by kind of telling me what it was like when your dad was first diagnosed and kind of where you were in the process of trying to find resources and how did that all happen?
Okay, this is what it was like. Close your eyes. What do you see?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's what it was like. We were in the dark, literally. We did not know what was going on. You know, when my father, I first started symptoms, I think when he was boxing. Slurred speech. So we assumed, okay, boxing, boxers get slurred speech, that's what that is. And, you know, not being balanced, walking a little differently, and they were saying it was Parkinson's syndrome, Muhammad Ali, it's not going to be progressive.
Right.
But at that same time, it was progressive. And so not knowing, even the Parkinson's mask, we thought, oh, Daddy's getting sadder, he's not as happy as he used to be. And it was, when someone says, oh, that's the Parkinson's mask, the muscles relax in the face, you're like, oh, aha, okay.
Got it.
That's what it is. So back then, even the experts didn't have all the information. I think he was in his late 30s when he first started having symptoms. And
how long has your dad had Parkinson's?
Oh, over 30 years. It's been over 30 years. And the more information we received. His wife Lonnie would send the children books on Parkinson's. That was very helpful. And you know, I saw a change in my father after he participated in the Olympics in 1996, and he lit the torch. And it's so funny, my friends thought I was being mean because I didn't know he was going to light the torch. And you know, when he gets nervous, he shakes even more, right? So people are, you know, crying, and oh, look at Muhammad Ali, and he's shaking, lighting the torch. And I'm like, Daddy, don't burn up everything, you know, because he's shaking the flame, right? But after he saw how many people loved him still with Parkinson's, I mean, he was a little more introverted, not a lot, because he tends to be a positive person in general and very optimistic. As everyone knows, he's not a person that wants to submit to defeat. But it's very hard, even still for him. What are you fighting against? Right. You know, so in the early stages, he didn't know what he was fighting against. He was just struggling with it. And I'm telling you, once he became a part of the community, and with the help of his wife and just people around him beginning to understand more what Parkinson's was about, it was much better for him. So yeah, it's been a long journey. You know, I didn't live with my dad, you know, so I visited him during the summers, and he would come visit me. And so when we would see him on and off, he was something different. It was like a whole different dad. And I'm like, wow, he's slower. His voice is, you know, his writing is smaller. When I get him to do autographs for my friends, I'm like, I noticed the writing was tiny, and I'll go, Dad, write big, you know. And so he'll go, then if you say write big, he'll write big. And which I found also,
that cueing.
Yeah, the cueing, exactly. And that's another thing we learned. It's like if we're out and about and he doesn't have his balance, we learn certain things you can do, like tap the foot or say lift your feet up, and still
big steps.
Yeah, big steps. And so all these little things makes the day easier. So that's why we're out here, and these events are so great, because people are learning from each other. Even with the punding, the repetitive OCD behavior. Oh my gosh, I used to get on my dad, you know, because we'll bump heads, you know, and he's cutting sheets out, cutting paper out, and doing these repetitive movements. I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? Let me do them for you. And I'm thinking, okay, my father really wants to do this, so I'll help him. He's like, no. I'm thinking, why don't you want me to help you? But then we found out, no, this is something that he does. And since it was something that wasn't harmful for him, just let him do it.
Right.
It's not like he's cutting his hands off or he's ripping out. So, I mean, you know, the stress that a family can put on someone with Parkinson's not knowing what they're doing is unnecessary stress. So I said, well, I'm stressing my dad out, telling him not to do this, but it's something that he has to do, you know, because it's a side effect of a medication. So, okay, go do it. So now he's not stressed out anymore. Right. So you have all these things you learn, and of course we learned a lot of them the hard way, but, you know, thanks to his support system and the kids being educated about it, our time with my father, you know, it gotten improved, even though we always have a good time anyway, because he's just such a fun person. But even my sister wrote a book, you know, because her kids, my dad's grandkids, didn't understand. They call him Poppy. Why is Poppy upset with us? They go, he's not upset, that's just his face. So she actually wrote a children's book, I'll Hold Your Hand So You Won't Fall. And it's a guide for children to understanding Parkinson's. So I just think, you know, things like that are so helpful. And you know, yes, we didn't have all the information when he was younger and when he first had it, but look at the inspiration. And you know, some people say, oh, I didn't want to go out to restaurants and be in public until Muhammad Ali came out with Parkinson's. And I'm like, I have the disease Muhammad Ali has, or I have the disease Michael J. Fox has. So to have celebrities, yes, it's sad the celebrities have it, but I don't know, it's kind of, it worked in our favor a little bit, just putting it on the map, you know. So yeah, it's just,
How is he today?
You know, he's doing as well as he can do. You know, he doesn't walk as well or talk as well. But like I said, fortunately for our family, my father is a positive person when you're with him. Right. And he just gives off a certain energy and spirit that has allowed us to deal with the disease much better than if he were, you know, doom and gloom and negative, and that's just not the guy he is. Right. So luckily, you know, people will walk up to me, you know, in his early stages, they'll go, oh, your dad, are you guys? And I'm like, no, we're cool, you know, we're having fun. And I tell people, my father handles this in such a positive way, because when he's with us, even if he was depressed, he wouldn't show it, because he's enjoying his children. Right. So he's not the kind of person that burdens people or you know, he doesn't project that kind of negative energy. So that's been a blessing that he's that kind of person. He's always been like a fun person, in his boxing and his rhyming and his, you know, performing the way he is, and he kind of still the same way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Maymay, I want to take this time to really personally thank you. You have taken all that knowledge. You have done so much for the walk and so much for people to help educate them on all that you've learned with your family. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me and having me a part of this. This has been...
never be the same without you.
I know. I love coming here and writing the poems. And
our official Unity Walk poet. See that shirt?
I'm ready for the poem that talks about the cure we're going to find.
I know.
So
and it will be on the website. Thanks again,
Thank
Maymay.
you, Carol.